Okay, Thomas, it's the day after the 50th anniversary of the Patterson Gimlin film, and tell me what you know about Roger Patterson.
Robert Clarence Patterson was the man who shot the film on October 20th, 1967, with a 16mm Cinekodak K100 movie camera that he rented from a camera shop in Yakima. Roger was quite a character. He was only 5 feet 3 inches tall, but an extremely physically fit man, suffering in these years. He was dying from Hodgkin's disease, which eventually took him in 1972. Roger was, I never met the man, but as I understand it, the best way to describe him was, if you think back to television shows in the 1960s, think of the show Green Acres. Think of the character known as Mr. Haney. Everybody liked him. A lot of people loved him, but everybody knew, for God's sakes, don't give him any money, because the odds are you weren't going to get it back. Mm-hmm. Roger was an inventor. He had a very, very analytical mind, but he was a man who was determined never to work for anybody else. So he tried to make a living off of his inventions, off of his earlier days as a rodeo rider and an inventor. And of course he wrote a book the year before the film called Do Abominable Snowmen in North America Really Exist? Mm-hmm. And Roger, I wish I had gotten to meet him. I really do.
Why is that?
Well, I would love to look at him straight in the eye and say, Roger, did you actually film what you claimed to have filmed that day on October 20th, 1967? Just see what he says. Roger, to his deathbed, said the film was authentic.
Right.
Yep.
And does his wife, have you ever talked to his wife?
Yeah, I've talked to Patricia, his widow, many a times. A dear, dear lady. She never, as far as I know, she never remarried. She still lives in the same house in Yakima and still does to this day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she believes that he really filmed.
To tell the honest truth, she believes it, but she says if it wasn't a Sasquatch, she has no idea how it was pulled off.
Right.
She has no idea how it was pulled off. Yeah.
But you don't think that she was in on any hoax?
Oh, no. No. Roger would do his thing, and basically she was keeping the homestead going.
Right.
Yeah. In all those years. Roger, at times, was not fulfilling his duty, providing a good home environment for his family, but they never really complained. They loved the guy.
Right.
Everybody who knew them was really fond of him. A lot of people in town didn't trust him, and for good reason.
Right.
Right. Like I said, Mr. Haney.
Now, if most men would confide in their wives, and I think it's kind of telling that she doesn't think that he hoaxed.
Well, every time I've talked to her, and every time the subject come up, and other people have talked to her, she's always said if he did anything in a way of towards pulling a hoax or anything, he never even said anything about it in private.
Right.
Never said anything about it in private. Most of the people in town that were interviewed by Craig Long and others, well, the ones that basically attacked Roger were people who were mad at him for debts owed and things like that.
Right.
You know. And of course, a lot of people are just looking for their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get in, saying they were the man who wore the suit, or they know the man who wore the suit, and of course, we've had several different names brought up over the years claiming to be the man who wore the suit.
Right.
And none of them have ever panned out. Like
right.
I said, this is the most debated film in history. Every time you think you find an explanation for it, there's something that blows out the window. You got to concentrate on the subject in the film itself, not the man who pulled the trigger.
Right.
Right.
Right.